and welcome to part two of our socialization tip. This one's going to have some meat on its bones, by the way. It's pretty funny. After I posted part one, I got a couple of messages from some people in the group, really kind of concerned about, hey Jeff, what's up, man? Yeah, I can see comments. Really kind of concerned as to where we were gonna go with part two. In fact, I won't name any names, but one comment was, or one text was, if you're gonna tell me that I need to start liking people better, I'm not gonna do it. I love it. I love it because socialization with our dogs. We talked last time about being a little bit more flexible. Socialization, not getting necessarily getting along with other dogs and everybody, but more than anything, being flexible and paying attention to us as leaders. Think about it this way: a dog's version of their self-esteem is quite often seen in moments in time, environments, and leadership. Okay, individual pieces that can be kind of switched in and out. And so when we have a moment in time that's chaotic, when we have an environment that's unsure, or when we have leadership that is not communicating clearly, then we have social awkwardness. Now, on just a basic fundamental level, foundational level, when pups are born, mom does a very good job. If she's given the opportunity to do what she does, and she's not removed from the pups prematurely, then she does a very good job of helping to shape and guide and structure how puppies socialize with each other. There's a very, very basic thing that puppies do when they're playing with each other, that if one plays a little bit more rough than the other, then the one receiving that yelps. We've heard that, yelps, and then scoots on away. Well, that's a discipline for that dog that was playing too rough. Okay, and that starts to shape what is appropriate and not appropriate, which impacts the brain's concept of normalcy and flexibility. So why do we socialize our dogs? And why is it so important that we socialize our dogs? And then what does that even mean? So within Pack Leader, if you caught Mondays, socialization is less about getting along with other dogs and more about neuroplasticity and flexibility in our dogs, really paying attention to us as leaders before anything and everything else around them. So that doesn't mean that we need to change ourselves, because I'm not a big fan of us conforming to what we think our dogs need and want. That's not leadership. In our world, in Pack Leader's world, leadership is insisting that our dogs shape and reshape themselves and slide on in or merge with the life that we're designing and the quality of life that we're designing. So let's flip the script. So what that means for us in the human world is, I'll use myself. I'll throw myself under the bus. I am often perceived as an extrovert. Well, if you know anything about the Enneagram personality typing, I'm a 3 in the Enneagram, and I like to achieve, and I like to perform, and I like to do this. It feeds me. I enjoy that. However, I'm not as much of an extrovert as everybody thinks I am. I'm an introvert extrovert, and so when it comes to leadership and leading dogs, yes, we can do both worlds, but what really feeds me is not necessarily giving myself away all the time and being extroverted and social and all that. What recharges me is being introverted and alone. So I saw this in Diego, where he was very good with people, very good with other dogs, but really wanted to recharge by himself, alone. I wonder where he got that from. So when it comes to socialization, in the human aspect of it, I don't want you to change yourself. If you don't like people, you don't like people. That's fine. Okay. If you love people, you love people. You probably need to put some boundaries in place for yourself. If you like going places, then go places. If you don't like going places, then don't go places. However, the big thing for us here is that You are intentionally designing that flexibility in your pup. So, for example, this is our practical application now, okay? So if our pup doesn't like to go in public and freaks out and is full of anxiety, taking your dog to Home Depot or taking your dog to a dog park to try to get rid of that is too much. It's too much. There's too much for them to handle. It's overwhelming unless, hey Lynn, how you doing? Unless you are able to have complete control of yourself and your dog in that scenario. So when I've taken dogs to Home Depot or to a pet supply store that we're working on making them a little bit more social, it's less about how the dog is going to react in that scenario and more about how I do or how you do. Okay. So if you're trying to build more social flexibility in your dog and you're leapfrogging into the chaos of that environment and they're not ready, don't do that. So let's take it baby steps at a time. Okay. I've got many dogs that I've worked with that instead of going right into the dog park, okay, to get that socialization going, we don't go into the dog park. We walk around the dog park. Okay. Or sometimes we just get out of the car in the parking lot and we walk around the car. It's those baby steps. Okay. So when it comes to socializing our dogs properly and healthily, all right, mom does a lot of this in the beginning. And then when they get to us, okay, and that's whether they're 10 weeks old, whether they're, 9 years old, okay, when they get to us, what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to introduce them to different environments in small blocks and small chunks, because often it's working us too. So if you're going to take your dog, okay, let me paint this picture. If you are scared and anxious and nervous about how your dog is going to respond in other environments, then you don't want to go into that environment. You're building your confidence up. You're building your self-esteem up as well as your dog's. So then you take small steps along with your dog to build up your confidence, to build up your self-esteem, to build up that ability to communicate to your pup very clearly that you are in control of yourself. Because I can take a very scared dog that's not socially, that's socially awkward, and take them into an environment that's chaotic. But I'm very calm, assertive, and persistent because I know my personality, I know my leadership style, I know how I'm going to respond to that environment. And that confidence, that calm, assertive, persistent confidence in myself, then from the dog that I'm working with, is smelled, seen, and heard. So our functional purpose here in socialization is to create flexibility in our dog's mind. Their flexibility comes from your flexibility, who you are. So when we introduce our dogs to social settings, whether it is, again, Home Depot, the pet supply store, the dog park, or I think y'all might have seen the video where I posted that short video where a friend of mine brought Ruby over, her dog over, her puppy, and we introduced them to Whiskey, my cat dog. Well, we did that in a very methodic and intentional way, not just so that Ruby can and Whiskey could meet each other and be comfortable with each other, but so that all parties involved were calm, assertive, and persistent, and we're comfortable and confident with what is going on. So if you don't like people, don't force yourself. Don't force yourself to be saturated in that environment. If you love people, okay, and you're extroverted like that, then yeah, allow yourself to go into that environment. But the rules are very strict. You have to maintain the control of yourself and the awareness of yourself along with your dog. And so boundaries are important. And sometimes when we're introverted, those boundaries are pushing ourselves out a little bit there externally in small blocks. When we're extroverted, it's allowing ourselves to go out there externally, but putting boundaries in place. So I want y'all to give yourself permission that when you're socializing your dogs, make sure that you're taking small steps at a time to where you are both comfortable, because big steps are too much. And then also keep the mindset here that, dogs are similar to people, in the sense that not all dogs like each other. We can kind of make them, be cordial with each other, but dogs have two stages of submission. The first one is I'm going to allow you into my space and my environment and my den, my residence. And the second is I'm going to allow you to control me and to lead me and to guide me. Well, that first stage is kind of that like stage. So I don't want us to push onto every single dog out there that they're supposed to like people or like dogs, all right? But I do want to be non-compromising and insistent on that they need to have the social flexibility that comes from seeing you as the leader first and keying off of your prompts. So bottom line is if you're nervous and insecure and full of anxiety and scared about introducing your dog into a social environment, your dog would pick that up. So small steps at a time, so you're both confident, you're both healthy, you're both ready to be into that pressurized moment. That's what socialization is. It's not imposing something on a dog that maybe you are not ready for first and that they're not ready for. Okay. Sometimes this process takes, a week. Sometimes it takes, 5 months. Sometimes it takes years, depending on the dog, depending on the dog-human dynamic there. But it's important that you give yourself permission to take it one step at a time. Okay. All right. If you got any questions, please let me know. If you got comments and observations, if you got stories of your socialization and your process, please post them. Let me know. I love the stories and I love building on it. So again, lastly, think of socialization as that tandem companionship between you and your dog, and how you both as a team engage in that environment to make sure that there is neurological flexibility in both of your minds. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great Wednesday. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you Monday. Have a good day. Bye.